Well, hello friends, and welcome into your practice today. This is an all levels vinyasa that is going to focus on one of my favorite poses, but in a slightly deconstructed and unique way. And that pose is Vrischikasana, or the scorpion pose. We are not going to be doing the full Vrischikasana today, which is traditionally practiced in a forearm stand with this nice scorpion tail with the legs up and overhead. We're not doing that today. But what we are going to do is around a dozen different versions and variations of that scorpion tail, particularly twisted. So all of the variations we're working with today are going to have a back bend, they're going to have a twist, and there will also be elements of a balance that are integrated into those different variations. Foundationally underpinning all of that work with the twisted scorpion tail, we're going to be drawing upon the fourth of the 5 niyamas. And that fourth niyama is svadhyaya, which is self-study or self-awareness. It's drawing upon your awareness of your surroundings, what's happening in nature, what's happening in your body, and allowing that to be a reflecting point for you in your own self-awareness and self-study. So we are going to be visiting these different twisted scorpion tail shapes over and over and over again today. And that repetition is very intentional because that repetition is meant to kind of inspire that deeper level of self-awareness, excuse me, and self-study. So let's get to it, and we're going to begin belly down in a prone Advasana or a belly down Shavasana position. I'm going to keep my head lifted so that you can continue to hear my voice clearly. But for you, I'd suggest that you widen the elbows, stack the palms of the hands, creating a little pillow with the hands, and then just rest your forehead on the top of that hand pillow. As you settle in, give yourself a few moments to let the full weight of the body release into the mat. And start to notice that relationship between the entire front line of the body and the surface of your mat as you really begin to take in those full, conscious, deep breaths. Noticing how the breath presses into the mat and the earth underneath you on the inhale. And then noticing the reciprocity as the floor and the mat underneath you press back into the body on the exhale. Feeling into the rhythm of your breath. I know for me personally, the breath is one of my favorite tools for svadhyaya, for that self-study. The breath is this incredible teacher. It has so much wisdom. We can constantly learn from it. Giving yourself about 2 to 3 more breaths. Welcoming yourself into this practice of self-study through the lens of moving our body and playing with different shapes. We're going to begin to move into our hatha yoga practice, the physical shapes, with a more underused back bend, Makarasana, the crocodile pose. So your forehead is going to stay super glued to the tops of your hands, but you're going to start to externally rotate your legs all the way up at the thigh bone. So the entire length of the legs externally rotate, and your inner heels and ankles melt down towards the mat as much as possible. Energize the legs slightly, and let's take just a normal breath in and out here. And then the next time you feel yourself inhaling, keeping your hands super glued onto your forehead, start to lift the head, the chest, the neck, the shoulders, pressing the inner ankles and heels down, feeling the glutes engaged. And taking about 2 more breaths in this Makarasana crocodile pose. Keep lifting the elbows up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, ride the breath down, releasing that first round of Makarasana, and take a couple rounds of breath just to rest in between. We'll start to build the second round of Makarasana crocodile pose,
So again, keeping the hands super glued on the forehead, start to re-energize the legs, inner ankles and heels, pushing down into the mat. Take a preparatory breath in and out. And then as you take that subsequent inhale, rising up, elbows lifting, hands super glued to the forehead, glutes engaged, breathing for 2. This is such a valuable back bend, engaging the entire posterior chain, which we'll be using in our different scorpion tail variations today. And then slowly releasing out. Take the arms wide, palms facing down in a prone T position. We're going to start to come into our very first scorpion tail pose. You're going to roll over the right side of the body, lifting the left leg, bending the left knee, and bringing the left toes up towards the right palm. Take a breath in and out here as we take our time this first round, and then slowly rolling back onto the belly. We'll start to switch sides, rolling over the left side of the body. Right leg comes up and over, right knee bends, and down. And then I want you to continue rolling back and forth at your own pace. So rolling over the right side, that scorpion tail up and over, and down. Rolling over left side, scorpion tail up and over, and down. Really trying to bring toes towards the hand. This is moving at your own pace. Just a nice way to start to feel into that shape. We'll take about 2 more each direction. That's it. Just kind of sending a message to the body of, this is what we're going to be playing with today. Seeing how receptive it is. And then in the next time you come down to the belly, bring those palms underneath the shoulders, shift up to all fours, start to move into some intuitive cat and cows. And I really would like to underscore, if I was typing, I would put that in bold, underline it, the word intuitive, because I want these cat and cows to really be responsive to what your body needs right now. So you can see my body is needing more of a circular shape with my cat and cow right now. Yours may need kind of almost a wagging of the dog sensation, or maybe that classic forward and back tilt of the pelvis. But moving in a way that really honors what your body needs right now, which is really at the heart of Svadhyaya. That question of, what am I noticing right now? What do I need right now? Which is rooted in self-awareness. Taking about 1 more round of that intuitive cat and cow. And then we'll pass through our very first down dog of the practice. We're not going to linger there. We're just going to press up and back, and then just immediately start to walk your hands back towards your feet, finding Uttanasana. And if you're anything like me, my first Uttanasana, I need more space. So I'm going to widen my feet. And then I'm going to clasp hold of opposite elbows here and create a picture frame. So I'm going to invite my biceps to come back so that they're framing my ears. And then using my kind of palms and fingertips, I'm going to just gently pull the elbows down to the floor. I find myself naturally swaying a little bit here. You may do the same. And then we're going to invite in a mild twist here, since so many of our scorpion tails are going to be twisted today. So rotate your spine slightly to the right, and as you do so, just add a little extra pull on that left elbow. Maybe you feel a little bit more awareness trickle up the left side of the spine, all the way into the low back. And then returning to center, we'll go the other direction. Sliding over to the left and inviting a little bit more of a tug into that right elbow. 1 more breath right here. Ooh, this feels so yummy. Coming back into center, release opposite elbows, and then we'll start to build our first mountain pose. And again, checking in, that self-awareness, that self-study. How do I want to build my mountain? Do I want to roll up, stacking the vertebra? Or does it feel better for me to reach out, long spine, to come to standing? Every movement, every choice coming from that place of that practiced Svadhyaya,
that inner self-awareness, rising up to your mountain pose, opening your eyes if they were closed like mine, and then walk to the front of your space as we start to shift into some sun salutations. We're gonna do 4 rounds of sun salutations today. First 2 rounds, movement to breath. Classic 12 movements that you know and you love. We're gonna keep it flowing. Rounds 3 and 4, we will add in some additional postures to really start to build in that scorpion tail twisted shape. So standing at the front of your mat in your mountain pose, releasing the arms, taking full breath in and out. Take 1 more in breath in, and then here we go as you exhale, hands to heart center. This is position 1. And then reaching the arms forward, up. Maybe there's a back bend for you at the top. And then folding over the legs, position 3. We're gonna lead with the left as we step to the back of the mat. Melt that left knee down. Let's take 3 breaths here in this first round just to enjoy this lunge. Checking in, where do you want your hands? I'm feeling like maybe I wanna just land on my thigh here. You could always extend the arms upwards. Always taking those opportunities in the practice for you to decide what feels right for your body right now. Take 1 more breath in the Ashtangasana lunge, and then exhale, hands come down, step it back, downward facing dog. Now, a number of our scorpion tail twists today are going to be grounded on top of 8-pointed pose, Ashtangasana. So we're going to move through that in our Vinyasa pattern today. Without moving your feet, drop the knees to the mat, hands down. So we've got 6 points, 2 feet, 2 knees, 2 hands. We need 2 more. Chest between the thumbs, chin out front. Take a full breath in and out here. Then untuck the toes, slide to the belly, cobra pose, rippling up into your back bend, and then passing through all 4s, returning to down dog. Keeping it flowing, looking forward, left foot steps forward, right knee melts down, 3 breaths in low lunge. Finding that hand position that really meets your own body's needs right now. If you notice, I feel like the longer I teach, the more that I actually teach myself out of a job. I'm trying to get you to be your own teacher more than me. What do you need? Hands come down, step the right foot forward to meet the left. Which is really that foundation of Svadhyaya. When you're really self-aware, sweep those arms forward, up and back. You don't need me. You know what you want, what you need. Hands to heart center, position 12. 1 more movement to breath. Release the arms, stand tall, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. Arms reaching, forward up. Maybe there's a back bend. Folding over the legs. Right foot's gonna lead this time. Knee could stay up, or if you wanna lower, go for it. Just 1 breath in. Exhale, hands down, step it back, down dog. We're gonna keep that 8-pointed pose for our Vinyasa pattern today without moving your feet. Knees, chest, chin. Take a breath. Slithering to the belly, cobra. Downward facing, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right foot forward. Knee could stay up or lower. Breath in, breath out. Hips over heels. Step left foot to meet the right. Forward, up and back. Hands to heart. Adding in a few shapes here. Release the arms, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reaching arms, forward, up and back. Folding. Left foot leads. We're going to drop into Anjaneyasana, so dropping left knee down. Inhale, arms up to ceiling. Exhale, bring them right in front of you, parallel to the floor. Palms are facing each other. Don't move the left arm, sweep the right arm out and around. So we're closed body twisting here. Beautiful. Take a couple breaths. Now notice we always want the twists initiated from the pelvis. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come out of my twist a little bit. I'm gonna let the left hip move forward, and then from the pelvis initiating the twist, see if there's any space for me to deepen. Then drop right hand to the back of the left thigh, lift the left arm. Looking down and over that right shoulder towards the mat. Breath in. Hello, twist. Windmill the arms forward. Sweep that right leg up and back, three-legged dog. And then we're gonna make our scorpion tail. Bend your right knee, shift shoulders over wrists, and then lift your right toes towards your head, chin forward. Scorpion tail, knee to nose. You're gonna do that 3 more times. Shoulders over wrists, scorpion tail, toes towards the head. Knee to nose. 2 more. Scorpion tail. Knee to nose. Last time. Scorpion. Knee to nose. Ashtangasana. Lower that right foot. Knees, chest, and chin. We're going to add on a scorpion tail here. You're in your 8-pointed pose. Foot up. Breathe. Out. Reach the left heel back. Breathe. Left knee down, right toes down. Slither to belly. Cobra. Ooh, it's tough to talk in that. Downward facing dog. Take a clarifying breath between sides. Yeah, Ashtangasana, not an ideal pose to be chatty in, that's for sure. So make sure you're not talking. I'm only talking for your benefit, so you're not lost. You know what you're doing. Looking to the front of your mat space, left foot forward. Sweep those, drop the right knee, arms up to ceiling. Arms forward, parallel to the floor, palms face each other. Don't move that right arm. Sweep that left arm around and back. And then again, the pelvis is that seat of wisdom. Everything starts at the pelvis. So when we're twisting, come out of the lunge a little bit. Let the right side of the pelvis melt forward. From that shifting in the pelvis, see if there's more space to deepen the twist. Then drop left hand to the back of the right thigh, right arm to ceiling, and take a full breath there. Windmill the arms forward. We've got to repeat those scorpion tails on the second side. Left leg up, 3-legged dog. Bend the knee, there's your scorpion tail, but we got to shift shoulders over wrists. Pull the toes towards the top of the head, and then knee to nose. 3 more, scorpion tail. Knee to nose. 2 more. Up and over, shoulders over those wrists. Knee to nose. Last one. And nose. Downward facing dog. We've got to move into that 8-pointed pose and take our scorpion tail on the left side. Knees lower, chest and chin. From there, left toes lift up and over. Scorpion. Option. Heel back. Ripple. Back bend. Downward facing. Breath in and out. Closing out this round of sun salutation, look to the front of the mat. Travel your feet to the front of the mat, however it intuitively makes sense to you. Sweep the arms forward, up, and back. Hands to heart center. Last round of sun salutations. Release the arms, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reaching arms forward, up, and back. Folding over the legs. Right foot is going to lead. Step it back, dropping back into that low lunge on Vinyasa. Reach the arms up. This is going to feel really similar. Arms come down. Sweep that left arm out and back. Let that twist be initiated by the pelvis. Drop left hand to the back of the right thigh, right arm up. Staying here could be a beautiful option. If you want to add in a scorpion tail twist, lift the right shin, hold the top of the right foot, Rotate. Check in with the breath. Release that back shin gently. Windmill the arms forward. Listen carefully. Extended table. Sweep that left leg back, setting up for Utthita Dhanurasana. Take a moment, get stable in the body. When you feel ready, add on the extension of that right arm forward, then bend the left knee. There's your scorpion tail. Sweep the right arm around, find the foot. Push the foot into the hand. Find that Dhanurasana. Pull the chin forward. Maybe smile. That's a novel idea. Take one more breath. And then gently release. Now peek up here at me for just a moment. We're going to add in the bind of the hand to the foot in our Ashtangasana 8-pointed pose. Okay, so you could stay with what we did last time with just that scorpion tail overhead from the 8-pointed pose, or if you want to sweep the opposite hand around to the bind, you may want to watch it first, then rewind and come back and do it with me, okay? Downward facing dog. I'll try to talk through it. It is a difficult pose to be chatty in. So we build our Ashtangasana base first. So feet don't move, lower the knees. Then the chest and the chin. Then just like we did in Utthita Dhanurasana, left scorpion tail. Shift the weight to the left, right hand to left foot. Then push and extend. Release. And continue. Flow. Cobra. Downward facing dog. Take a breath or two in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Svadhyaya. Self-awareness. Maybe you need to let out an exhale through the mouth. Second side, right foot forward. Left knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms forward. Come out of the lunge a little bit as you twist to the right, left side of the pelvis, initiating that twist. Yes. Right hand to the back of the left thigh, left arm to ceiling. Option to add in that scorpion tail, find the foot bind. This is the same tail you're going to have in just a moment from your 8-pointed pose. So feel it now. Gently release, windmill those arms down. Step back, right leg back, find your balance, left arm forward. Utthita Dhanurasana, scorpion tail, left hand to right foot, push foot into hand, pull the chin forward, push down through that right palm. Every time you're revisiting that scorpion tail, rediscovering something about yourself. Re-extend, lower hand, lower foot, second side. So the right leg is going to be the one making that scorpion tail. I think I misspoke earlier. So just make sure it's a right leg that's going to lift here. Downward facing dog. We start with our 8-pointed pose. Feet don't move. Lower knees. Chest between the thumbs, chin out front. Right foot scorpion tail. Shift the weight to the right, left to the right foot. Push and press. Release. Slide. Cobra. Downward facing. Take a breath in and out. Look to the front of the mat. Walk or step the feet. Take a moment, opposite elbows, dangle. Whew, that's gonna feel nice. Sway it out. Release that picture frame arm. Soften the knees. Either roll it up or long spine, out, up, and back.
Hands to heart center, closing out all those gorgeous sun salutations. Release the arms. Adjust the clothing, take a sip of water, all the things you may or may not need at this point in the practice. We are going to shift into a short, it's only 3 poses on each side, standing sequence, but that's really tapping into that element that I mentioned right at the beginning of the practice of balance with the twist and the back bend, okay? So when you're ready, front of your mat space, working with a variation of Natarajasana King Dancer pose. Left leg is going to be the standing leg first. So if, like me, you like to shift it to the center of your mat, go ahead and do that now. Bend the right knee. Take a second just to be like, okay, this is what it's like to be on one leg today. And then left hand to right foot. So we're sticking with that opposites attract model here. Twisting, back bending, balancing. Right arm could be forward or up, you choose. And then starting to lift up into Natarajasana. Now for me, in this variation, I find focusing on lifting the knee is more helpful than the toe. 2 more breaths here. Notice how different it feels. Step it back, Parsvottanasana pyramid pose. Right foot back, I've got about 3.5 to 4 feet of distance. Squaring up the hips, the shoulders. Got this nice rectangle between the hips and the shoulders. Hands to waist, inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hinge forward, long spine. Keep the spine long here. This pose in the sequence is really here as a reminder of what it feels like to not be in a twist or a back bend. Two more breaths, just enjoying the breath here. Exhale, release the hands to the mat. Pivot onto the ball of the right foot, plant it back parallel, and then sweep your left leg high like standing splits. Walk your hands back to your right foot. Revolve sugarcane pose. Bend your left knee. There's your scorpion tail. Opposites attract. Right hand to left foot. And then again, maybe emphasizing the lift of the left knee as you come into this revolve sugarcane. My gaze is on the mat right in front of my right toes. My left knee is like magnetically being pulled up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. And then Vinyasa, flow it out. Foot down, walk the hands forward, downward facing dog. Because we've done all those 8-pointed poses, maybe you want to take a plank through a chaturanga. It might be a nice counterpoint at this point in the practice. Back bend of your choice, downward facing dog. Taking a couple of breaths just to clarify and pause before we do that short standing sequence on the second side. Not just waiting for these moments of pause to really drop into Svadhyaya, but really staying in that place of self-awareness and self-study throughout the practice. Look at the front of the mat, walk, step, or hop the feet. Taking a half lift here. Ooh, that feels good. Exhale, fold. Reaching arms out up. Hands to heart center, immediately going to the second side. So right leg is now my standing leg. If you're like me, again, I'm going to invite it more to the center of my space. Left knee bends, and I'm like, okay, hey, here we are, one leg. And then opposites attract, right hand to left knee, or left foot rather. Left arm either forward or up. And then knee is initiating. Feeling the twist, feeling the back bend, feeling the balance. 2. Stepping back, Parsvottanasana, left foot back. Squaring hips and shoulders. Whew. Had a little bobble with my balance there. Once you've got that nice rectangle, again, this pose is not about depth. This pose is about remembering what it feels like to not be in a twist, to not be in a back bend,
to breathe with a long spine. One more breath. Last pose in the sequence, hands come down, sweep that right leg up. I moved my left foot parallel, by the way. Then right leg comes up, walk my hands back. I'm briefly in that standing split, and then revolve sugar cane, bend into my scorpion tail, left hand to right foot, and then lift that right knee up and open. Drishti really helps with the balance here. So gaze on the mat in front of those left toes. Keep lifting that right knee. And then final vinyasa of the practice. Moving into your downward facing dog. Maybe a plank through a chaturanga feels nice. Coming into folded leaf. Drop those knees. Folded leaf, as a reminder, is what I call a child's pose with the inner thighs and knees together. So it's a closed child's pose. And you're completely folded over the legs. I just have my head lifted so my voice stays clear. What I like about the folded leaf at this point in the practice is we've done all this twisting, all this back bending, and it feels really nice with the inner thighs and knees together to have the pelvis being slightly tilted back, which is inviting this mild stretch on all those muscles in the low back that have worked so beautifully throughout all of those twisting back bending postures for us. So this is like a thank you pose to that lower back region of the body. So really directing your breath there, letting it be really nourishing. Walking the hands up and in. We're setting up for the inversion part of the practice, about a 90-second inversion. And I am going to be cueing a headstand. So if headstand is not in your practice, take a different inversion. You know your options. You could do down dog, you could do dolphin, you could do legs up the wall, anything where the hips are a little bit higher than the heart. If you're going to come with me in the headstand, we are going to invite in the scorpion legs at the top of our Sirshasana headstand today with a very mild back bend from like the bottom of the rib cage down. From the bottom of the rib cage up is going to be very classically structured headstand to maintain the integrity of the base of the pose so that we don't have to worry about falling over. Okay, so you want to be really steady in your headstand to come with me in this variation. Okay, if that is you and you're coming along with me, let's start to set up the foundation for our Sirshasana. So interlacing the fingers, I like to tuck in my pinky finger because it just makes the foundation much more comfortable. Open up my hands. There's my nest that my head's going to come to live in for 90 seconds. I'm making sure that my elbows are a nice distance apart. And then snuggle my head into that nest, tuck my toes, lift my hips, and start to build my Sirshasana. You could pike up, as I'm doing. You could do one leg at a time. The time has started, and then when you get there, you can bend your knees into your little scorpion tail. You could keep the knees stacked over the hips as I'm demonstrating now, or you could start to reach the toes back and invite in a back bend from like the bottom of the ribs down to the hips. Thighs move back a little bit, but again, that is not compromising the foundation of the pose from the ribs down to the forearms. Really playing with our center of gravity here. Keeping my big toes together. Taking about 5 more breaths.
Controlling your descent. We'll come straight back into that folded leaf. Inner thighs, inner knees together. I'm feeling all that blood flow return to my fingers, maybe wiggling the fingers a little bit. I'm really letting the residue of the posture kind of wash over the body, just letting it land, letting it seep into the cells. And then walking the hands in, lifting the torso. We're going to move into a Vrischikasana twist, one of my absolute favorites. So from this closed folded leaf position, I'm just going to drop my right hip off of my heels and start to build into my Vrischikasana. So I'm going to start to sweep my arms. I like to come out and up first, and then take my left hand to my right knee, my right hand behind me. And then I'm really inviting my left thigh bone, left femur forward, and then revolving. So as my left femur moves forward, that actually propels me deeper into this open twist. One more full breath. And then looking forward first, unwinding the twist. And there's a couple different ways to switch sides. You could lift the hips and switch. I'm going to actually swing my legs around. So now my hips are to the left, legs are to the right, taking that nice tall reaching upwards, and then right hand to left knee, left hand behind me. And again, this time my right femur is moving forward, which you can see what this does to my pelvis. And then it allows me to deepen the twist. As the pace of the practice really slows down, it can tend to be a more profound invitation into that state of svadhyaya, self-awareness, self-study. Starting to slowly come back, and we're building our Savasana as we extend the legs. Make your way mindfully onto the back. If there's any final movement that the body is like, oh, I really need that before I can be still, by all means take it. Otherwise, we are moving towards just a couple of minutes of stillness and Shavasana. Legs and arms extended. Svadhyaya is hopefully a practice that we learn to bring with us in both movement and stillness. But sometimes stillness can really help us access that practice of self-awareness. Aware of the body as it is right now. Studying the breath, the mind. Knowing that the entire universe resides within you, so there's this eternal well of things to be aware of, to study, to be in awe of within yourself. One minute of silence to simply rest. As we prepare to bring this practice to a close, begin by welcoming in a deeper breath. As the breath deepens, maybe a little movement enters the body. And then eventually returning to that word intuitive. Really trusting your own intuition as you make your way back up to a comfortable seat. As you find that comfortable seat, bringing the palms of the hands together as we seal our practice with this blessing, asking that the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light, which sounds like these 4 words in Sanskrit. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Victory to all of our practices. Chai.